Sergeant Andrew R. Joden, Sergeant Carl J. Morgan, Staff Sergeant Victor M. Cortez III, Lance Corporal Robert T. Miniger, Private First Class Douglas E. Cashmer, First Lieutenant Lewis E. Allen, Private First Class P. Klinger, Specialist Robert E. Hall, Jr., Lance Corporal Ryan J. Kovacic, Staff Sergeant Joseph P. Goodrich, Private First Class Nils G. Thompson, Sergeant Brame J. Jeffcoat, Specialist Kurt E. Kraut, Private First Class Nathaniel E. DeTample, Sergeant Francis J. Straub, Jr., Staff Sergeant Ryan S. Ostrom, Specialist Gennaro Pellegrini, Jr., Specialist John Kulik, Specialist Jeremy M. Campbell, Specialist William L. Evans, Specialist William V. Hernandez, Staff Sergeant Sean Graham, Specialist Oliver J. Brown, Specialist Lee A. Wigand, Sergeant Eric W. Slobodonik, Staff Sergeant Daniel L. Arnold, Staff Sergeant George A. Pugliese, Private First Class Jason L. Fry, Lance Corporal Patrick B. Kenny, Staff Sergeant Troy S. Ozernik, Lance Corporal Mfeme W. Swizdek, Staff Sergeant Daniel R. Leitner, Jr., Major Jeffrey P. Toslowski, Private Dylan R. Pateas, Sergeant Brett A. Adams, Staff Sergeant Keith A. Bennett, First Lieutenant Michael J. Cleary.
Fallen for 2006, Corporal Albert P. Gettings, Lieutenant Colonel Michael E. McLaughlin, Petty Officer 3rd Class John T. Freilich, Sergeant Jonathan E. McCauley, Captain Brian D. Willard, Sergeant James F. Fordyce, Sergeant First Class Randy D. Colley, Specialist Frederick A. Carlson, Lance Corporal Jacob W. Beisel, Staff Sergeant Eric A. McIntosh, Specialist Mark W. Melcher, Private Travis C. Zimmerman, Corporal Brandon M. Hardy, Staff Sergeant David M. Viverka, Private First Class Stephen P. Snowberger III, Lance Corporal Adam C. Conboy, Private First Class Vifempi Freud, Master Sergeant Thomas D. Mahalik, Sergeant First Class Scott R. Smith, First Sergeant Christopher C. Rafferty, Captain Jason M. West, Specialist Tristan Smith, Private First Class Justin W. Dries, Sergeant Jennifer M. Hartman, Sergeant Alan R. Bevington, Corporal Carl W. Johnson II. Private First Class Shelby Finelio. Sergeant Timothy Lauer. Staff Sergeant Joseph M. Kane. My son, Corporal Russell Grant Culbertson III. His good friend, Second Lieutenant Christopher E. Loud. Sergeant First Class Daniel A. Brazanovich. Sergeant First Class Tony I. Neer. Sergeant Charles J. McLean. And Specialist Ross A. McGinnis.
Our fallen heroes from 2007. Sergeant Thomas Vanling, Captain Mark Resch, Sergeant Russell Kurtz, Captain Todd Cyber, Private First Class Matthew Bowe, Private Wesley Williams, Specialist Louis Rodriguez, Sergeant Ashley Moyer, Lance Corporal Dennis Veeder, Private First Class Aaron Janevic, Specialist Jeremy Maresh, First Lieutenant Travis Marion, Sergeant Alan Dunkley, Private First Class Robert Dombrowski, Master Sergeant Arthur Lilly, Private First Class Larry Parks Jr., Sergeant Raymond Buckman, Specialist Zachary Klauser, Specialist Cami Florexel, Specialist Michael Hook, Specialist First Class Michael Tully, Sergeant Jan Arganish, Master Sergeant Scott Ball, Captain Eric Foster, Specialist First Class David Cooper, Private First Class Adam Chitian, Staff Sergeant David Weger, Staff Sergeant Patrick Kuchbaugh, Captain David Boris.
The fallen heroes for 2008. Staff Sergeant Ryan Steve, Lieutenant Colonel Richard Biandanini, Chief Petty Officer Michael Croach, Sergeant Timothy Van Orman, Specialist Luke Runyon, Captain Nathan Radabush, Sergeant Sean Stush, Sergeant Jason Kirkpatrick, Private Matthew Brown, First Lieutenant Jeffrey D. Primo, Private First Class Joshua Wallenberg, and Private First Class Derek Hall.
The doves will now be released.